TLC dropped the Cult of the Real Housewife regarding Mary Cosby on January 1st. I found this very interesting. It did give me a full picture of Mary Cosby's life and how she got to where she is today. Mary Cosby's grandmother, they called her Mama, and she's from Indianapolis. She had 4 kids, and I don't know where their father went to, but she was alone with the 4 kids, and she had a quote-unquote calling. Made her way to Salt Lake City because he says she had to go save folks in Salt Lake City. So she hitchhiked and walked with her 4 kids to Salt Lake City because that was the calling she had from God. Now, when Mama goes to Salt Lake City, she meets at some point, she starts doing the church from her house. She has a little house, and people said you could drive by and you would hear how loud they were. You know, they spoke in tongues and sang, and one of those crazy churches. I never understood the allure. When people start acting crazy and yelling, I'm out. That's not a message. That's a show. But anyways, she would do it from her house, and it grew and grew because people walk in like, what's happening here? And it was a church, and then she eventually did her church. Robert Sr. came into the picture somehow, and she moved him into her house. I don't know if she was helping him, if he was a traveling whatever, I don't know, but they turned into a romantic situation. And Robert Sr. was 22 years old, and Mama, the grandmother, was 42, exactly 20 years older than him, just like Mary Cosby was 22 when she married Robert Sr. at 42. It's the same exact ages and the same exact age difference, and I think that's so eerie. That was so interesting. Mama, the grandmother, was, what do you call her? Not a sugar mama, but she was 20 years older. That's kind of nuts. And so Mary was only 3 when they got together. So he was literally her step-grandfather, quote-unquote grandfather, because the real grandfather wasn't in the picture, her entire life. He was her step-grandfather for 22 years. If that is not the creepiest thing, for her to then marry this man that's watched her grow up since she was 3, disgusting. So as the church grows, apparently all the family went to the church. Mary and her siblings they were on welfare, and people are saying she's lying when she said on Salt Lake City that they had money growing up. The sisters, like her sister Rosalind's in the documentary, she said, we never had nothing, and Mama had to come in and take care of us because our mom was not the best. But I don't know if they had such a good church, why they were so poor. But anyways, the sister Rosalind and the brothers and the siblings, they all say that Mary Cosby was a troublemaker, and she got in trouble all the time, and she was always about money. She wanted men to give her money. That's what her priority was in life, and that kind of checks out from what you can tell. Obviously, these are just opinions. I don't know anything about this woman's life or her, but this is just what I take from all this information. And apparently, Mary was excommunicated from the church because she was bringing a bad name to the church, like a bad rep. So Mama, the grandma, defellowshipped Mary from the church. So Mary was not allowed to go to the church anymore. So that's huge, because why would she leave a church to her grandchild that she defellowshipped from her own church? So that right there is a huge clue. And then Mary was actually married when her grandmother died, and she was married to this other churchgoer. And so you could tell that this was all Robert Sr.'s idea. And maybe Mama, the grandmother, was involved, but you almost think that when the grandmother was passing away, she was telling her husband, if you can convince one of the girls to get with you, maybe that's a good idea, and that they could stay in the family and you can grow the church. And then maybe she said that to him, but I don't think she physically said Mary specifically, because the rumor, every time you hear them talk, even when they said it on Salt Lake City, they said she wanted him to get with one of the granddaughters. So not specifically Mary, that's defellowship from the church. So I'm thinking that he just had the hots for her from whenever it started. And that's so disgusting. And Mary's mother was completely against it. She went into the church and started banging on the thing and telling everybody that she doesn't support this move, and they were kicked out and all this stuff. So Mary was married. She got with Robert Sr. He bought her a BMW. The siblings like, what the hell? Why are you buying her a BMW? And then she quickly divorced the guy she was married to so she could marry Robert Sr. So it kind of looks like Mary was like, oh, hell yeah, I want all this. I'll get with you, old man, and let's do this. Buy me shit, and I'll get divorced and marry you. It seems to me that either the grandmother was a little on board being a sicko and saying, okay, get with whoever you can get with and keep it in the family. Or Robert Sr. manipulated the situation saying, this is what she told me. Because where's the will? He says it's in the will. That's not in the will because he owned the church as her husband. She did not leave her assets to Mary. And Mary did say in Salt Lake City that she left all her assets to her, which doesn't make sense because we both know that she wouldn't have had to marry this old dude and everything was hers anyway. She would have taken it and not had anything to do with him. So she left it to her husband, and the husband, and maybe there's a half truth that the grandma said, you can have my grandkids if you want, see what you can get. Or he just manipulated it and said, I'll give you all this because I have the hots for you and let's do it. So I think that's what happened. That makes more sense. She didn't leave everything to Mary. That's a bull-faced lie because she wouldn't have got with the old man. Mary hasn't talked to her mom since she married Robert Sr. and apparently the other siblings lost touch with their mom too. So there's a big rift. It completely divided the family, which is sad. And then they talk about all the other, they keep calling it a cult. And I think it's more of a scam. I know a cult is more when you want to control people and tell them like how to live their life, how to talk, how to walk. You're always with them. This is more like sell me your soul, give me all your money. It's not, to me, that's more of a scam than a cult. But it is weird. They have to change the laws with these 401(c)(3)s, the churches. And, there's no reason that she has 3 homes and all this Gucci Chanel bullshit owning a church. I think people in the church and leaders should have a regular job. Not only is it more relatable and they can, relate to our issues that we go through day-to-day life with working and the life balance, but you shouldn't live off a church. I think that's where the corruption is, and the laws need to change as far as the tithing. Tithing started when we didn't have taxes, okay? We didn't have tax returns. We didn't have all this stuff, sales tax. Tithing was a way to get back to the community, but now we have taxes, and that's how we get back to the community because it pays for the roads and the schools and the bullshit, and we don't need to tithe as much. So all this tithing stuff needs to be corrected as well because it's a scam. But Mary's sister Rosalind, she went to the church even after she married Robert Sr. She thought it was creepy and disgusting, but, she was part of the church already. She wanted to keep in touch with her sister, but it got to the point that she couldn't do it anymore because everything turned so weird and negative. And then she got out and now they don't speak. So it is an interesting documentary. So if you have it, TLC, I saw it on HBO Max, so it's available there too.